If you have been on a spiritual path for a while, you have probably felt a deep conflict. One side of the spiritual community says, you are a creator, manifest abundance, create your dream life, you deserve to be rich and happy. The other side says, desire is the root of suffering, let go of attachments, the world is an illusion, wake up and dissolve the ego. So, which is it? Are we here to win the game, or are we here to stop playing? Welcome back to Earth Online, the Player's Manual. Today, we are going to look at the two distinct objectives of this simulation. Mozi calls them the player, manifestation, and logging out, enlightenment, while Eckhart Tolle called them the watcher and presence. Anthony DeMello called them the observer and awareness. While Mozi uses the modern, relatable language of the player and logging out, other teachers point to the exact same mechanics using vocabulary that matches their specific frameworks. To play this game consciously, you have to choose which mode you are in. Because if you try to do both at the same time without understanding them, you will just get confused. Let's talk about Path A first, the player. In gaming terms, a player is someone who has figured out the source code of the game. They realize that the world isn't solid, it's a projection of consciousness. Most people play Earth Online on hard mode. They think, I have to work hard to get money. I have to chase love to be happy. They are slaves to the game physics. The player flips the script. They realize, wait, I am the projector. If I change my internal frequency, the external screen must change. Here is an example of a player. Imagine a person who loses their job. An NPC player would panic, feel like a victim, and scramble for survival. A player sees the job loss and says, okay, the game is rerouting me to a better level. They hold the frequency of abundance. They visualize the new outcome. They don't react to the 3D reality. They overwrite it. And usually, within a month, they land a better position with higher pay. The goal of the player, to upgrade the avatar, to have the best experience possible, to master the law of attraction. They want the loot, the money, the soulmate, the health, the freedom. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with this. It is fun. It is why we built the playground. But there is a trap. Even if you are the king of the world in the game, you are still in the game. Now, let's talk about Path B, logging out. This is what Eckhart Tolle, Michael Singer, Gary Renarder, Anthony DeMello, Mozi, and many others refers to as true enlightenment or awakening. If the player wants to change the dream to make it a good dream, the person logging out simply wants to wake up. Imagine you are wearing this VR headset. You are playing a horror game. The player finds a gun and shoots the monsters. They feel powerful. The person logging out simply takes off the headset. They realize the monster wasn't real, but neither was the gun. Neither was the hero I was playing. Here is an example of logging out. Let's use the same example of losing a job. Someone on the path of enlightenment loses their job. Do they panic? No. Do they furiously manifest a new one? No. They simply observe. They watch the avatar feeling stress. They watch the mind saying, this is bad. They step back into the position of the observer. They realize, I am not the one who lost a job. I am the awareness watching the character lose a job. They don't want to fix the problem. They realize there is no problem because the person with the problem is just a collection of pixels. The goal of logging out, to return to source, to end the cycle of reincarnation, to stop identifying with the avatar, the body-mind entirely. This is ultimate peace, but to the ego, it looks like death. Here is the paradox we face in the modern New Age movement. We are told to manifest our desires, player, and dissolve our ego, log out at the same time. You cannot run north and south simultaneously. If you focus 100% on being a player, you might build a perfect life. You have the mansion, the fame, the family, But what happens? You get attached to it. You get golden handcuffs. You love the game so much that you don't want to leave. You will reincarnate again and again to protect your loot. You are a master of the simulation, but you are still a prisoner of it. On the other hand, if you focus 100% on logging out, you might lose interest in the game. You might stop chasing the career. You might seem boring to your friends because you don't care about the drama anymore. You are free, but you are no longer playing. But wait, there is a secret third option. What happens if you actually achieve Path B? What if you successfully log out? You reach ultimate enlightenment. You take off the VR headset. You remember that you are pure infinite source. You are free from the cycle of karma. You never have to come back. But then you look at the headset sitting on the desk and you think, you know what? I know it's an illusion. I know it's just pixels, but it's a really beautiful illusion. Let's go back in and play. In gaming, we call this New Game Plus. In spiritual traditions, this is often called the path of the Bodhisattva or the returning master. When you log back in after waking up, you return as the ultimate super player. But your gameplay is completely different. When a normal player manifests $1 million, they are secretly afraid of losing it. Their ego is still attached to the loot. When the New Game Plus player manifests $1 million, they do it just to see if they can. They do it to build a cool sandcastle, and if the ocean comes and washes the sandcastle away the next day, they just laugh, because they know they aren't the sandcastle, they are the ocean. You can come back and play the game of business, the game of romance, or the game of art, not out of lack, but out of pure creative joy. You aren't playing to survive anymore. You are playing for the aesthetic beauty of the game. And because you have zero fear of losing, you actually become the most powerful manifester on the server. The game engine responds effortlessly to someone who has no desperation. You also become a beacon for other players, casually dropping hints and cheat codes to help the NPCs wake up and realize they are players too. You have the golden handcuffs on, but you hold the key in your pocket the entire time. So, which path should you choose? The player, logging out, or the New Game Plus? Here is the truth. You cannot successfully play the New Game Plus until you are actually willing to log out. If you try to manifest the $1 million while secretly terrified of being broke, you are just a player trapped by your own desires. The game still owns you. But if you can touch that state of logging out, if you can step back, find that pure awareness, and realize that your avatar's survival does not equal your survival, then everything changes. You realize the game is totally safe because it isn't real, and from that place of absolute safety, you can pick the controller back up. You can strive for a better life, better health, and better relationships. Play the game, enjoy the graphics, build your empire, fall in love, experience it all. But do it as a lucid dreamer. Put the golden handcuffs on, but keep the key in your pocket. Remember that no matter how much loot you collect, you can't take it with you when the server shuts down. And you don't need to, because you are already everything. Here is the bottom line. It doesn't matter which stage of the game you are in right now, whether you are currently stuck in NPC mode just beginning to wake up, a conscious player learning the controls, or a super player manifesting your dream life, the maintenance of your avatar never stops. To play this game without lagging, you have to constantly refine your avatar's settings. You have to actively uninstall the outdated programming, the ancestral fears, the past life traumas, the limiting beliefs, and install new productive software that actually serves your current level. And that is exactly what BodyMaitre is all about. It is the diagnostic tool for refining the consciousness of your 4 bodies. We use it to clean up your physical hardware, debug your mental and emotional operating systems, and boost your spiritual Wi-Fi connection. Because when your avatar's code is clean, every single mode of the game becomes infinitely easier to play. Whether you want to win the game, leave the game, or come back as a returning master, There is one skill every single path requires: the ability to stop the noise. In the next episode, we're going to talk about the pause button, how to find that 0 point of stillness where true awakening begins. I'm Darreck. Enjoy the game, but don't forget who is holding the controller.